So what am I looking at today? All right, I'm gonna head into my studio shed and we'll go to the workbench and look at a new gadget from Freewell. So this is a new, I guess you would call it a cage. They call it a Pro SSD Hub. And it's more than just an SSD hub though, that's for sure. I called it a cage. It's really more of a grip that has an SSD and a MagSafe handle and such built in. You can go to vertical or you can shoot horizontal. It's got a handle and it's got cold shoes. It's got a removable Bluetooth remote control, so you can stop your app. Then the main component to this is this back piece here, which just comes right off. It connects via magnets, and it is the SSD drive. And so it's connected via cable into your phone. And so that is the gist of this system. Again, it's more of a grip. You can grip it with your hand. And the other thing that it has, I should mention, is it has a Arca Swiss plate on the bottom that will fit right into a tripod. So you can easily drop this into a tripod that has Arca Swiss, and then you're ready to shoot. And so there are a lot of positives to this, as you can see from this very quick demo. And I really do like it, but it's not perfect. And so let's go over kind of the pros and cons of what this is, and then you can decide for yourself if this is something you might want to add to your mobile filmmaking kit. So we'll go with the pros first, and the pros are that it is very versatile. You can use it in a variety of different ways. That is something I do quite like. You can shoot, again, in vertical for social media type stuff, or you can just very quickly switch it to horizontal if you're doing more traditional filmmaking. Another pro are the cold shoes on top. That is a nice addition, and then the Arca Swiss, and there's a cold shoe on bottom too. So if you're in vertical mode, you could put a microphone or a light or whatever there on the side, and you can put one there as well. And then I also do like the Bluetooth control. That's a pro. I don't use these a lot, especially for photography, but for video, it's nice to connect it because with the native camera app or even Blackmagic, you can control start, stop if you want, which, is pretty nice. Then the other big pro to this is this back. And let's talk about this real quick. I'm going to unplug it. This is the SSD module. It's MagSafe compatible, and you just open this top, you can see the SSD in there. It supports the M.2 SSDs. You can buy and replace the SSD, which is nice. Now, the one thing I should note though is this SSD does not come with the kit, so that is additional. But it's really nice how they make that user configurable. Now, the other thing about this, which is a big plus to me, here is a 16 Pro Max. This phone here is a 15 Pro Max, by the way. You can put this on a case and use it alone. You don't have to use it with the grip. And so that is super cool. But this is where there is a negative. Doesn't have anything to do with Freewell per se. This Moment case, I can't fit the cable into the phone. I had a similar problem using my Lacy external drive with this case. And so this will depend on the case. It plugs in fine, of course, into the actual drive there, but this case doesn't work with it, which is a shame because this is the case I really like because of this right here, the Moment Quick Lock filters. But that's another story. It's really cool that the module fits on here via MagSafe, and it is strong. It's not going anywhere, but it doesn't actually work with this case. And so it really works best without a case, or I've tried the Sandmark case and it works with Sandmark. Let me show that real quick. So here's the 16 Pro Max now in a Sandmark case. Put that on there and it should plug in. Yep, it plugs right in. And so the Moment case, again, while I really like that case a lot, it is thicker along the bottom, or I guess just the case in general. And so it doesn't work properly with some of these accessories. Again, that's neither here nor there. It's not really a problem with Freewell, although I wish these accessory makers would make these connections a little bit longer, for lack of a better word, so they could fit in multiple type cases. But again, this is a huge plus to be able to take that around and use it with other devices without the handle even involved. All right, continuing with the SSD module, and this is another really cool thing. It comes with this accessory. This is made out of metal, and it's got a cold shoe adapter. So you can put it on the handle here. Probably wouldn't do that with this particular setup, but I'm just showing it for demo purposes. And so then you just drop this on the top here, and you've got a really secure connection. Now, again, using this, you probably wouldn't do that because it's got the magnetic back. However, this would work with any other cage, like a Beast Grip or whatever. That way you have an SSD attached to the outside, but one that can pop right off at any time. And so the accessory kit that I got came with it. I'm not sure if that's an extra fee or not, but the one they sent me did have that included, and I really like it a lot. And one last thing about the SSD module that is a nice plus, and I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but you've got a charging port, you've got the 10 gigabit main data port, and then you've got a audio port on top. And so you can plug in a microphone, a battery, and the SSD to the phone when you're using this, which, depending on what you're doing, is really nice. So that way you don't need any kind of third-party hub to run multiple accessories. So now let's talk about the negatives. And the first one is that, and this is kind of the big one for me, is it really works the best without a case. Let me show you what I mean. It has a MagSafe on there too. So it is nice that you've got this clamp with a MagSafe, so it really holds it pretty well. But when you're using a case, it's okay, but when you put the cable in here, and you're attaching the SSD, if you're not using the SSD, this isn't as much of a problem. So you put the cable in here, and it's an L cable. You plug it in, you're good to go. Again, I'm using the Sandmark case right now because the Moment case doesn't work properly. But now, with this larger phone, and this may work better with a Pro model phone, by the way, you don't have a lot of room. So if I want to go into vertical mode right now, you can't do it. You got to push the phone forward and then go into vertical mode. But when you do that, the MagSafe connection becomes a little bit loose and you don't really have it. So then you got to reposition it like that and go back down to grip onto the MagSafe. Then when you want to go back horizontal, you can do it, but it just takes some finagling. But with cases on, it's just a little bit bulkier, and the MagSafe connection, I don't know if you can see that under there, the MagSafe connection isn't as precise. And right there, you can kind of see, now it's not connected at all. Now you've got the clamp to have double reinforcement there, but now the MagSafe isn't even connected. So yeah, that's just kind of a negative, especially if you're doing any kind of more robust shooting. It's just not as easy to use with a case, but using a smaller phone, it may work much better. I don't have a smaller phone, a Pro version. I only have Pro Max, and so I can't test it out, but that is just something to keep in mind. Another negative, and you can look at this as a positive or a negative, but I just want to mention it, and I touched on it earlier, is the SSD is not included. And so you do have to buy an SSD separately. And so you can get them on Amazon, and you do have to install it. It's not hard to install, but it does take a little bit of time and a little bit extra money. And so you factor that into the cost. And at the time of this video, this is about $150, $160 for the whole kit. So with this, it would be an extra $100. So you're talking $250 to $260. But again, just going back, you can use this with other setups. It is multi-purpose. And if you bought like a Samsung external SSD, those are about $100 as well, maybe more, depending on what size you get. And so you got to do that anyway. But you could just plug this in and edit off this just like any other SSD. So it is multi-purpose, but just know there's an extra cost involved. And then one thing I read on the Freewell website, and I showed how this connects to the phone very nicely like that, and it is a really good secure connection. In the fine print, it said that this only connects to Pro Max size phones. If you see how big that is, I'm assuming the Pro size phone, it's too small. And so keep that in mind. While the Pro size phones may work better with the actual grip, they don't evidently work well when you use this by itself with the phone. And so that could be a negative as well. And then one negative for the grip. While it's great to have a grip like this, when you have the SSD module on there, your fingers kind of hit it and you can't get a great grip. At least I can't. This will probably depend on the size of your hand. And as a matter of fact, you can see the grip itself, my palm sticks out on either side. So if you have larger hands, this might feel kind of like a small grip. And again, that's kind of a subjective negative, but if you remove this, then you have a much better grip on the actual device. And so if that was on the top, as I showed earlier, then the grip feels much better on your hand. But when it's on there, it's fine. It just doesn't feel as comfortable. And then the grip itself, the padding right here is, I would say, it's medium size. But if you have medium to large size hands, it may feel a little bit small. So those are the pros and cons for me. Some may or may not apply to you. But overall, I am pretty impressed with what Freewell has come up with here. It is a nice all-in-one solution for a variety of type of work. Even though it's kind of heavy duty, I think it is probably still geared more towards social media because again, the phone is not super secured. It's secure when it's in there, but it's not like being in a cage. And so if you're doing more filmmaking stuff, film style work where you're rigging different monitors or putting lenses or ND filters, then this is probably not right for you. This is in between. It's not an everyday carry thing, obviously, because it's pretty big. I could see this being great for travel or for a variety of different kinds of social media type work or light film work, meaning pickup shots or second unit stuff, if that makes sense. It is a very nice grip. I like it. The SSD connection is great and it's solidly built. And so it's a quality piece of gear with the various caveats I've mentioned in this video. So what do you think? Are you interested in a Pro SSD hub like this with a grip? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.